You know, these were the last words Ishan Pillai ever posted online. They're just so full of hope and excitement for this new adventure, just hours before he was lost to the incredibly unforgiving waters of the Pacific Ocean.
So, today, we're going to explore what happened in those final critical moments. It's a story about adventure, yeah, but also about tragedy, and about the brutal lessons the sea can teach you in, quite literally, an instant. This is the story of the sinking of the fishing vessel Das Bug. All right, so to really understand what happened out there, we've got to get to know who was on that boat and the journey that brought them all together at that exact moment off the coast of Newport, Oregon.
At the very heart of this story is Ishan Pillai. He was just 28 years old, an Army vet who'd recently moved to Oregon. His family described him as an adventurer, a nomad. He was just drawn to the coast in this rugged, hard-working life of a commercial fisherman.
Now, the captain of the Das Bug was Perry Bordeaux. He was a really well-known and respected guy in the Newport fishing community, a super experienced crabber and a big voice for the folks running smaller boats just like his. And this was their vessel, the FV Das Bug, a 40-foot commercial crab boat, kind of the workhorse of the Newport fleet, you know? Built for the tough conditions you get on the Oregon coast.
So Ishan meets Captain Bordeaux and his crew just the day before the trip, and he was hooked. I mean, instantly. He posted this on social media, just buzzing with this infectious excitement. He wasn't just curious, he was ready to go. And that's exactly how he talked his way onto the Das Bug for a day trip, just to see if he had what it takes.
Okay, to really get the risk here, you have to understand the environment they were in. The crew was heading back to port, and to do that, they had to cross the Yaquina Bay bar. This is literally where the river fights the ocean. It creates these shallow, chaotic, and unbelievably powerful waves. It's one of the most dangerous parts of any trip out.
And on this particular day, the conditions were just fierce. You had swells hitting 8 to 10 feet, and they were being pushed by these 25-knot winds. On top of that, the tide was going out, an ebb tide, which makes crossing a bar even sketchier. Captain Bordeaux himself said the weather was way worse than what had been forecasted. It was so rough, in fact, he decided to cut the whole trip short and head in early. So now let's look at how this careful decision to head home turned into an absolute catastrophe in just 30 seconds. This was the moment that everything, and I mean everything, changed. You know, the captain's own words really say it all. The speed of it is just mind-blowing. This wasn't some slow ocean disaster you see in the movies. It was a sudden, violent flip that left zero time to prepare, not even enough time for a mayday call. This timeline just shows how fast routine turned into pure chaos. So, at 4 p.m., they start making their turn toward the bar. Just 10 seconds later, Bordeaux feels it. Something is wrong with the boat's stability. He glances at his alarms, but everything looks normal. But before he can even figure out what's happening, the boat just leans to its side, and it never came back up. It was gone.
30 seconds. That's all it took. From the moment the captain felt something was wrong to the moment 4 men were fighting for their lives in the frigid Pacific.
In that half minute, Bordeaux's instincts just took over. He literally threw Ishan, who was right there in the wheelhouse with him, out the door. He somehow managed to grab 2 life jackets and toss them out before the whole wheelhouse went under. In the water, he got one on and then just bear-hugged his 2 other crewmates, trying to keep them all together.
But then, as he put it, they were hit by buffalo. It's a term fishermen use for these huge, violent, wind-driven waves. And that's what broke the captain's hold. A series of these things just crashed over them, scattering them in the churning ocean. And in that chaos, Ishan Pillai was gone.
The rescue crews were on the scene within 20 minutes, but it was too late for Ishan. The other guys, the survivors, were already severely hypothermic. So, when a tragedy happens this fast, what can we possibly learn from it?
And this is the question that the entire maritime community started asking right away. I mean, if years of experience and a cautious captain weren't enough, what else is there? What can we do?
So from this tragedy came some really hard truths. First, things happen unbelievably fast. Second, cold water is an absolute killer. It can take away your strength in just minutes. Third, a boat's balance is a really fragile thing. And finally, and this is probably the most important one, you will not have time to go looking for your safety gear. And that leads us straight into this intense debate in the fishing community about PFDs, personal flotation devices. On one side, an event like this proves there's just no time to go grab one. But on the other side, fishermen will tell you that traditional PFDs are bulky, they can snag on gear, and create their own kind of danger. It's this real conflict between what's safest on paper and the hard, physical reality of working at sea.
This quote from one of the Coast Guard rescuers, man, it just cuts right to the chase. 20 minutes. That's how fast the ocean can make a person helpless. It just highlights why having flotation already on you can be the only thing that separates a chance at rescue from almost certain death.
Because in the end, when you strip it all away, this is a story about a person. A young man with this incredible sense of adventure who was lost while he was out there chasing a brand new dream.
His family released this really powerful statement, and they chose to remember him not for how he died, but for how he lived, with this joy and this incredible curiosity that just touched everyone he met. His joie de vivre, his absolute joy of living.
And that spirit, it really touched the community too. The Newport Fishermen's Wives, an organization that supports local fishing families, they stepped up immediately. They started collecting donations to help Ishan's family, who had to rush to Oregon from California. It's just a real testament to that tight-knit world he was so excited to join.
And so, we're left with this question. Ishan Pillai's story is such a stark reminder of the deal we make when we go looking for thrills in the wild. It forces us to ask, how do we keep chasing adventure? How do we live with that same joie de vivre while never, ever forgetting the power that can take it all away in just 30 seconds?